fellow Druids, or people who associate with that label. Labels are tricky. A combination of labels, really, a combination of conditions is more who we are. You need to be able to give yourself labels in this world to find your tribe, to associate with your group. You also need to be able to put those labels down to find the true self, the true shining center that you're entitled to, that it really is your birthright. So I have a bit of a project, and I found myself drawn to the label of Druid, whatever that means. It means many different things to many different people. It's a psychological approach for me, and it's something that grounds me in history to a certain extent. Not all spiritual paths are genetically linked to everybody. I think they're all energetically linked, all is one. But the body can ground itself in a knowing genetically around some labels easier than others. And Druid, I have Anglo-Saxon in my background. I've always been a little bit upset about the lack of spirituality that I grew up with. I grew up around modern Christianity, which is, to me, just a religious dogma that doesn't even take itself seriously in any way. It's just been abused and manipulated. So I'll get totally off track if we go there. What I've looked for is a connection. Right? We have this connection to things that are beyond us, that is fostered in some places, is not fostered in other places. Certainly not particularly fostered in the Western world, in the Western philosophies. So to find where it is fostered, you kind of have to look around. There's many different systems of spirituality. There's many different ways that people connect, right? But one of the solid technologies that we see that is now it's infiltrated its way into culture is yoga. And it's infiltrated its way into culture in this way that it looks like a bunch of stretching exercises, which is, in a way, it is. It's hatha yoga is it's very stretchy, and in a way, it's sold as these positions. It's sold as something to get you good, get you well, and it does all that good stuff. But in its more true essence, hatha yoga is one of the limbs of yoga. There's 8 limbs of yoga. Hatha is one of them, which is the asanas, right? It's an asana practice, pose practice. But the biggest body of yogic limbs sits outside of that. It's philosophical. I mean, it's experiential as well as philosophical. But it's not about making shapes. It's about unity. The word yoga derives from the term of yoking, to yoke, to make one, right? The soul technology, that's the whole point in it. The lineage I've trained in, Kripalu or Amrit Yoga, is a very spiritual lineage. It's a tantric lineage. So the idea of any tantric lineage is the balancing of the internal masculine, feminine elements, the dance of Shiva and Shakti, so to speak. So it is this pagan path as well. I'm just going to read a little bit out of the Amrit yoga book, which is one of the books referred to in the trainings. Spirituality is the heart and soul of yoga. Regardless of what system of yoga you practice, the underlying core intention is to lead you to the final experience of samadhi, the union of Shiva and Shakti. Philosophical teachings on unity consciousness found in spiritual, theological, or yoga books are merely conceptual. Without direct experience, words are like paper flowers, appealing to the eye, but without fragrance or life. And that's really what yoga brings. It brings the experience of unity. It's all very well and good, talking to people about these experiences and promising them these experiences, but to make people shift, they have to feel it. You can have a million different maps, and if you've never taken a step on the road, you're not going anywhere. So yoga's just that. It's the practice of coming into oneness, coming into wholeness. All your troubles and your human problems kind of drop away in that moment. So there's lots of different things that I'm thinking of offering, and this idea of Druid yogi. There is the asana practice, and with the asana practice, it's a case of how strong those practices need to be. There's lots of big, weird, complicated holds. I say weird, complicated, overly complicated holds that just don't need to be like that. The most true yoga has no form. It follows the energy, right? So there's lots and lots of putting bodies in shapes to show the energy where to go. But when the energy is released, it knows what to do. So it's not somewhere that I lean towards naturally, although I will definitely use the asanas. Another element to my practice is kind of the mythology. We all have an inner myth, especially with the Druids. That's kind of why we're here, right? Like, we have an inner myth, and if we can take care of our inner myth and cultivate our inner myth, the reactions that we have, which are all based on the inner myth, will change. So we can discernibly change our inner myth by what we consume, by the content we consume. There's also an interesting play of energies, and this idea of contemplating external energies to bring in and manifest within oneself the traits of that particular energy. So this is that pagan side that we're talking about. This is the gods within the yoga world. Some of the more basics we could work with is we can go through them. Lord Shiva, right, and Parvati, Shiva's wife. The son, who ends up becoming Ganesha. There's so much in the way of rich tales to go here. Durga Devi. She's an incarnation of Parvati that was given additional strength as a destroyer to battle another god. There's a massive amount of story and myth that we could look into. So yeah, I guess that's really part of what I'm asking is it meditation that you think you'd like to favour? Is it the myth that you'd like to favour? Is it the asana practice that you'd like to favour? We're not going to get away from meditation, because that is Raj, the limb of Raj, which is meditation, is my practice. Between Raj and nature, reverberation, I guess it would be. These are the two main limbs of my practice. So today, before I leave you, I invite you to take a seat take a seat somewhere comfortable, and we're gonna do a meditation for a couple of minutes, maybe three or 4 minutes. So I want you to come into a seat, wherever you find yourself sat. You want to try and have your knees lower than your hips. So we just don't want to be scrunched up. If we end up all scrunched up in a little ball, our belly can't expand. It's not loose. So we want our hips below us, our belly can move. We want to sit with a straight back. If you try not to lean back against something, try and sit out of the seat. You want a straight back, like somebody's energetically kind of pulling you up from the top of your head. Shoulders melting down your back as much as is possible. No strain, just lift without strain. And then we're going to we're going to settle in. We're going to find our breath. The sensation of the belly rise, sinking back in as the breath leaves. You feel the breath move and maybe meet it where it's cold and it meets the nostrils on the inhale. It goes down the nostrils, down the back of the throat, begins to warm up. Down into the belly rises. And then it all happens again in the other direction. There's nothing that's wrong here. You're just watching what's going on. The breath is doing what the breath will do. It's natural. You can't not breathe. Interestingly enough, you can take control of it, but you can't not breathe. Okay. Now we're going to take a little bit of control of the breath. We're going to do the 3-part yogic breath. We're going to learn the 3-part yogic breath today. Now the 3-part yogic breath is simply, we inhale, thinking about our breath going into our belly, into our lower abdomen. So we're going to inhale and we're going to fill from the lower, middle, and upper. And there'll be a pause. And then we're going to exhale from upper, middle, lower. And we're just going to repeat like that for a few minutes. And it's going to be as best as you can. If you catch your attention, not being on the task, smile and get back. Okay? So, we're going to inhale down into the bottom of your belly. It should make you sit up a little bit. You should be able to feel the breath going down and back towards your bum. And the middle, then release. You're going to come up into the lower chest, the higher chest. You got it in you. Think about breathing up into your collarbones. And pause. Don't strain. Don't strain. And exhale from the top down. Let go of the collarbones. Middle chest. Empty the belly. And then in. And out, top, middle, lower. And breathe in. Lower, all the way down, sitting up tall, middle, and upper chest. Up over the pecs. And pause, keeping it all comfortable. This is yours. We are all slightly different. And exhaling top, mid, and bottom. And keep this up at your own pace. Remembering to try and keep the chin in. You don't want to be looking up to the sky. There's an energetic tether on your head, gently pulling you up. You're pressing into those sits bones. If you are sat like I am, maybe pressing a little bit down on the knees and activating the armpits just to keep everything tall. It's another secret to this. If you can keep the spine really straight and really still, you will have deep meditative practice, in my experience. And then on your next exhale, let it all go. Let the breath return back to its normal pattern. And just take a moment with your eyes closed to check in. Do you feel a little different to when we started? Maybe it's a little more peaceful. Maybe it's a little softer. This is what meditation learns you to take control of and gain an awareness of. Alright? We're not about to stop being human. We're about to discover what it really means. It's a path of personal sovereignty. Give yourself to no one, nothing. Just don't give yourself away. Don't worship anything you don't get something back from. Right? No false promises. Discern from experience how your reality works, and your life will become a miracle. Other times it'll fall apart and still be rat shit. That's how it works. But the more time we can spend there, and the more we can know this is us, the easier the shit show will become. Right? You're not the shit show. Let it happen all around. Join me. Let's learn to dance in the eye of the storm. Jai Bhagwan, my fellow Druids. Jai Bhagwan. Victory to the spirit.